All right, thank you guys so much for tuning into today's live stream. Today is May 1st, 2025. And to begin today's live stream, I do want to take a look at the economic calendar here for today. So we have challenger job cuts, we have unemployment claims, which is a red folder news, and it turns out that we do have more people unemployed here for the week of or for the month of April. And coming up, I believe, yeah, we do have ISM manufacturing PMI numbers here. And this measures the level of diffusion index based on surveyed purchasing managers. So it's a leading indicator of economic health. Business react quickly to market conditions, and their purchasing managers hold perhaps the most current and relevant insight into the company's view of economy, which as respondents to rate the relative level of business conditions. All right, so it seems that we have some red folder news, but I think the most important one is probably this one, the unemployment claims. It did rise from previous, right, from 223,000 previously to now 241,000. Estimated was 224,000, but it beat that by about like 17 points or or 17,000 or so. But yeah, coming into today for the technicals at least, I don't necessarily have a bias, right? So let's take a look at the daily candle here. So this is yesterday's candle. Let me make this a little bit more prominent. So this red line right here that I'm drawing your attention to, that red line is the daily candle from yesterday. And with the way that we closed on the yesterday's candle, the first assumption that you can make, the easiest one, is that we're most likely going to take out previous day high. Right? So the daily high is the draw of liquidity for me. And we did take that out during the Asian session. So whenever this happens, right, whenever we complete a daily objective, I cannot use the daily time frame anymore after that. And like I said yesterday as well, the weekly time frame, its objective has already been completed. And so coming into today specifically, because I can't use the weekly time frame, nor can I use the daily time frame, I'm going to use the intraday timeframes for a bias, right? And so the intraday timeframes are like timeframes like the 4 hour. So every single candle has an objective, right? There's going to be a reason for higher prices or lower prices on every single time frame. So like on this candle right here, on the 4 hour candle, that's going to give me a bias, right? Based on how we close here on this 4 hour candle, I'll be able to have a bias. Same thing here on this 8 hour candle. Once we close on the 8 hour candle, I'll have a new objective. I'll have a 8 hour objective. Same on the 6 hour and the 10 hour. So that's me using the intraday time frames coming into today. But today is May 1st, so that means that we closed on a monthly candle here yesterday. So this is the monthly candle of April, right here. And with the way that we closed here on this monthly candle, what can we anticipate, right? The easiest anticipation is that we're most likely going to take out previous month's high, which is why I have a plus sign next to it. So for me, for the next monthly candle, I want to see us open up here on during May, and maybe like, we open, trade lower, and then take out the previous month's high. That's what I want to see here. So we are really close to taking out previous month's high, right? And I do want to see us take out previous month's high. So I'm gonna be nimble, but my monthly bias is the monthly high. And I mean, it's pretty easy to make that assumption here, right? with the way that we close on the monthly candle, I want to see us take out the monthly high. Yeah, but that's basically all. It's pretty much everything that I do have, at least for the technicals at least. And yeah, I'm gonna wait until we close here on the 4-hour time frame to really confirm a bias. But one thing that I do want to mention here is that NQ and ES are a little bit, ES is a little bit weaker compared to NQ. So the previous month's high on ES, right, as you guys can see there, notice how far away ES is compared to NQ. So NQ, the right chart, the right side chart here, it's relatively closer to previous month's high compared to ES. So depending on how we trade at previous month's high, which is I'm really anticipating for us to take out the monthly high here, but what I want to know is, what do we do after that? Are we going to, continue to expand and ES play catch up, or are we going to have a SMT divergence? So, ES and NQ could have an SMT divergence at the monthly high and possibly reverse. That could be a case, but for now, I do want to just wait and see how we trade there first, right? But yeah. That would be my analysis for today, technicals wise, and yeah. Fundamentally, with the unemployment claims being more bearish than bullish, that could possibly mean something. But let's take a look at the economic calendar here. So this is interesting. So, or not the economic calendar, but the Wall Street Journal, and see some headlines. So we have here, Tesla board open search for CEO to succeed Elon Musk. This is surprising, right? Elon Musk is like the face of Tesla. Whenever you think of Tesla, he's like main face that you think of. Whereas you think of the most people, they don't know who created Google, like, or who the CEO is. But Musk is a very prominent figure. Let's see. So about a month ago, with Tesla's stock sinking and some investors irritated about Elon Musk's White House focus, Tesla's board got serious about looking for Musk's successor. So Tesla just doesn't like the idea that Elon Musk is more focused on the Doge department compared to him focusing on Tesla's. Board members reached out to several executive search firms to work on a formal process for finding Tesla's next chief executive, according to people familiar with the discussions. Tensions had been mounting at the company. Sales and profits were deteriorating rapidly. Musk was spending too much time in Washington. Around that time, Tesla's board met with Musk for an update. Board members told him he needed to spend more time on Tesla, according to people familiar with the meeting, and he needed to say so publicly. Musk did not push back. Tesla has been on a losing streak in the months since Musk, its visionary chief executive, began spending much of his time helping President Trump slash federal spending, the Doge department. Last week, after the company said its first quarter profit had plunged 71%, Musk told investors he would soon pivot back to his job at Tesla. Starting next month, he said on a conference call about earnings, "I'll be allocating far more of my time to Tesla." The board narrowed its focus to major search firm, according to the people familiar with the discussions. The current status of succession planning couldn't be determined. It is also unclear if Musk Didn't provide a statement about publication. Hours after this article was published, Tesla issued a denial on X, also criticized the article in a post on X. The CEO of or the CEO of Tesla is Elon Musk, and the board is highly confident in his ability to continue executing on the exciting growth plan ahead. Its high-profile Cybertruck, derided for its strange looks, became the butt of jokes by late-night comics. I think that's all I really need for that, out of that article, to be honest. Coles terminates CEO for cause after investigation. The rush to beat tariffs is distorting the economy. Five to nine. See what this is about. Yeah, we did have a contraction in the GDP last, according to yesterday's news release. But the first quarter decline in economic outputs tells us nothing about the economy's actual performance, which through March was actually fine. It tells us even less about the broader impact of President Trump's tariffs, federal cutbacks, and immigration crackdown. For that, we'll have to wait April data, starting with jobs and unemployment, to be released Friday. Yeah, I think this is pretty major. Like I said, unemployment is higher than expected. Friday, yeah, we'll see. I suspect though that it won't tell us much about. Wasn't that 3%? Oh, 0.3% annualized drop in gross GDP in the first quarter because there's no. I think the imports here, I think the reason why it might have been contraction um, is because of people kind of rushing and kind of like afraid that the tariffs were going to last and just they bought a bulk, which caused imports to have a surge, like in um, a spike in the imports. Let's see. Spending equipment, investment, inventories, so that the effect of all that would have been washed. Oddly, we didn't see that even after economic analysis. Assume inventories in March rose more than data show. Without that assumption, GDP would have shrunk even more by 1.5% instead of. So either domestic production was unusually weak in ways other data don't show, or the missing spending will show up in later data. Besides the unusual impact of imports, the monthly pattern of activity also held down the quarterly total. Household consumption plummeted in January from December because of harsh winter. See, yeah, this right here, March might have been boosted. So consumer spending was boosted because of the fear of higher prices in the future. And they want to get stuff now and just prepare for that. It was up 0.4% on the month and 2.4% from December annualized, in line with the pace of the last 2 years. Employment data show the same picture. Private payroll growth was weak in January. Will that change in April? Probably not. For all the noise about tariffs, few have been passed through to customers yet. Retailers are for now trying to hold prices steady, perhaps hoping Trump, who has already announced pauses and exemptions for many tariffs, will go even further. If prices hasn't been affected, spending shouldn't be either. So essentially, there are a lot of news about tariffs, but they haven't caused a significant change in prices yet. So consumer spending is about, like, it's steady. Conceivably, the impact of early tariffs and anticipation of more could put the brakes on hiring. There's just no signs yet. This is very uncertain, right? With them like releasing tariffs and then 2 days later pausing them, and then it's on and off. It's super uncertain. So like we're kind of in a state of like paralysis, right? We don't necessarily want to do anything because we don't know what's coming next, or it's harder for us to see what's coming next. I do want to see something. Yeah, this one right here. So Ukraine and U.S. actually were able to sign a mineral deal. The agreement reached after several false starts could set the stage for more U.S. military assistance. So the U.S. and Ukraine struck a deal granting the U.S. access to Ukraine's mineral wealth. The deal establishes a fund for Ukraine's reconstruction, with both nations contributing. Ukraine retains control over its minerals using. Wait, it retains control. So it has access, but does it have absolute control, and does it have the rights to take the minerals? We'll see. essentials to the agreement. To be clear, no state or person will be, or person who finance or supplied Ukrainian. Together with the US, we are creating the fund that Wait, what? So, the United States is not going to be able to have these. They're not going to be able to get these minerals, or what? We understand how we will use this. All right. Interesting. But yeah, going back to the charts here, I was eyeing it just to see where we are. But it seems that we are about to close in about 5 minutes. And with the way that we are closing here on the 4-hour time frame and the 8-hour time frame, the best, I guess, assumption that you can make is that we're probably going to take out the 4-hour low. That's if we can close bearish, right? The hourly time frame isn't as bearish as you would say. This is the hourly candle here, the current hourly candle. And with the way that it's closing, I'm not confident in lower prices. It kind of gives off like, I don't know. It's not as bearish, but yeah, so I would just wait and see what we do there. But for now, I would wait the extra 3 minutes and just really give it some time, give it some more time. But yeah, my morning objective is going to be dependent on how we close here on the 4-hour time frame and the 8-hour time frame. All right, so about 2 minutes left. Oh man, how was you guys' day so far, man? Hopefully it was good. Hopefully you guys' morning is going pretty well. This is interesting. So notice how the 8-hour low, the 4-hour low, the hourly low, the 30-minute low, and yeah, how the 30-minute low is the same low as the 8-hour low. That means that we most likely will complete the 8-hour objective slash 4-hour objective within the next 30 minutes. That's just an idea, right? It's most likely that we're going to complete that objective within the next 30 minutes. And that idea is called scope, right? So the 4-hour low, the 8-hour low is right here, and it's the same low as the hourly low. And let's take a look at the 30-minute time frame. 30-minute time frame, that's the same low as well. 15-minute time frame, it's not the same, but the 15-minute candle is suggesting the same idea, which is lower prices. And this is called expansion, an expansion model, right? So like for the next 15 minutes, what can you anticipate? We should take out the 15-minute low and expand and attack the 30-minute low. That's the idea. That's kind of what I want to see here coming into today. So let's see. Will we create a entry pattern? Doesn't look like it, but oh nice. So we just took out, so now the 15-minute low is the same low as the 4-hour low. So what does that mean? We should complete the 4-hour objective within the next 15 minutes. I want to take a look at what's happening here on ES. There's the open. And we actually gapped up. And let's see what the news is. ISM manufacturing PMI still below 50, which isn't good. It's better than estimated, but it did decline. But yeah, so coming into the 4-hour time frame here, coming into the next 4 hours and the next 8 hours, my bias is I want to see prices take out the 4-hour low. That's what I want to see prices do. That's my objective for the morning. And because the 15-minute low here is the same low as the 4-hour low, I am anticipating for us to complete that objective. I want to see us take out the 4-hour low within the next 15 minutes. Just keep that in mind. That idea is called scope. And coming into the pros and cons here for today. So some pros from last week, just being able to take consistent trades, right? How am I going to take consistent trades? Well, I'm going to require a higher time frame objective, a model, and an entry pattern for every single one of my trades. Those 3 components right there will make up a consistent trade. And I will go more into depth about what a higher time frame objective is. But but that carries on to my next point here, is what higher time frame objectives actually are. So I have 2 reasons why prices should continue lower or higher on the higher time frames. So there's the EQ model, the equilibrium model, which is essentially trading prices trading back into discount and premium. And the expansion model, I'll be going over the expansion model or the EQ model today. But yeah, and the third pro here is just being able to pay close attention to SMT. SMT allows me to understand when there has been manipulation and how I can prevent myself from taking any unnecessary losses. So I always have to be referring back to ES and NQ to get a good understanding about what is happening on the indices. And so some things that I can work on here coming into this week, just developing that level of consistency. So for me, what is that going to mean? That means I'm going to be streaming every day, 8:30 a.m. constantly. Really developing that level of consistency once again. As last week, I wasn't able to because I was preparing to move all of my stuff from my old house to my new house. As you guys may see, the camera, like the point of view from the camera is a little bit different than before. I'm not in my room anymore. I'm in a completely different house. And yeah, so the second thing that I can work on is just building out DCFs. And I'll show you guys a discounted cash flow model that I created for NVIDIA. Here's what it looks like. I have, total revenue. I have, from revenue, I got gross profit. I got the depreciation and amortization, EBIT, tax expenses, net income, operating cash flow, and etc. But I was able to come up with these 3 cases here. So this is the conservative case where NVIDIA is priced at $98. The blue case, which is the base case, which is NVIDIA should be priced at $239 per share. And the green case, which means that NVIDIA should be priced at $277 per share. But it's with a lot of, I would say, non-professional, this is one of my first discounted models that I created. So the assumptions might not be right, and how I projected things might not be right. It's just, I'm just taking a step into the waters here. But yeah, so some improvements here, just taking consistent trades, right? Really showing that level of consistency with the way that I carry trades, with the way that I actually implement my strategy, and how I'm actually going to execute. Review higher time frame objectives. That is something that I am going to do. So today I'm going to be going over the EQ model, but yeah, so reviewing higher time frame objectives and paying close attention to SMT as I'm trading. So going into the EQ model here for today, what is the EQ model, you may ask? The EQ model, the equilibrium higher time frame objective is essentially when prices are going to trade back into the discount of a dealing range or the premium. So the first thing in the EQ model that you will need is you're always going to need a swing high, swing low, right? So here, from this swing high to this swing low, if prices were to create a bearish candle around the equilibrium level, which is this blue line right here, if we were to create a bearish candle and we haven't traded back into the discount of the dealing range, which is going to be this green box, then I'll consider taking a short into it, right? But that's the general concept of a equilibrium model. So here's a trade example here for you guys. So we have a dealing range, right? From this swing high to this swing low. And this is just the hourly dealing range. And going into the 15-minute time frame, you guys are going to see this. So we had a bearish 15-minute candle closure, right? And notice how we haven't technically traded back into the discount yet. We're very close to it. So this very next 15-minute candle, our model, it suggests that with the next 15-minute candle, we should open, we should manipulate higher, and we should continue lower, taking out the 15-minute low and expanding lower towards the discount of the dealing range. And it's also it's the 30-minute model and the 15-minute model. So going from the 15-minute time frame, I go on to the 5-minute time frame for a entry pattern, and I notice, hey, we created this 5-minute fair value gap. However, this 5-minute fair value gap shouldn't be traded back into. It should be treated as a breakaway gap. So I can't use that as a entry pattern. So going onto the 1-minute time frame, I notice, hey, this fair value gap here should be treated as a respected inefficiency. So whenever prices trades up into this fair value gap, I take my entry, and I'm targeting the 15-minute low and the retracement into this dealing range. So that's an EQ model. Pretty simple, right? You're targeting the discount of a dealing range. It's so essentially higher time frame objectives is what's another bigger reason for why prices should be continuing in that specific direction. That's essentially what a higher time frame objective is. And yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for today's live stream. I don't have a daily bias, nor do I have a weekly bias. Just watch out for the previous month's high, as I am anticipating that to be the draw of liquidity here for the upcoming month. For today at least, I would rely on the intraday time frames, like I stated, the 4-hour, the 6-hour, the 8-hour, and 10-hour for a entry pattern, or not an entry pattern, but for a higher time frame objective. For the morning at least, like I said, I do want to see us take out the 4-hour low and the 8-hour low. Now I would actually require a bearish closure on the lower time frames relative to the 4-hour and the 8-hour to align myself with that order flow. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for today's live stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.